A disciple sat beneath a banyan tree, his mind restless with questions that swirled endlessly like a storm. "Master, my thoughts overwhelm me," the disciple confessed, his voice tinged with desperation. The Buddha's gaze was serene, his presence as calm as the still waters of a quiet lake. "You carry the weight of the wind," the Buddha said, his voice like the gentle rustling of leaves. "But the wind passes, and the trees stand still," he added, his words carrying a profound simplicity. The disciple frowned, his mind grappling with the metaphor, trying to wrest meaning from each syllable. "Master, I do not understand," the disciple admitted, his forehead creased with the effort of overthinking. The Buddha raised a hand and gestured toward the forest that surrounded them in a green embrace. "Do you hear the sounds of the forest?" the Buddha asked, his voice imbued with a quiet certainty. "Yes, Master, I hear the rustling leaves and the whispers of the wind," the disciple replied sincerely. "The sound arises not from the trees but the winds passing through," the Buddha explained, his tone unwavering. "In the same way, your thoughts arise not from your essence but from life passing through you," he continued. The disciple's expression shifted, a flicker of understanding lighting his eyes, though doubt still lingered. "But Master, if these thoughts are not mine, why do they feel so loud and personal?" he questioned. The Buddha picked up a fallen leaf, turning it over in his hands with deliberate care. "This leaf has no voice, yet the wind carries its rustle to your ears," the Buddha remarked. "Your thoughts, like the wind, create noise, but the essence of you remains untouched," he elaborated gently. The disciple looked at the leaf, its stillness contrasting with the chaotic sounds of the breeze. "But Master, how do I silence the wind within me?" the disciple asked, his tone pleading for guidance. "You cannot silence the wind, but you can choose not to chase its noise," the Buddha replied. He placed the leaf down, letting it rest peacefully on the ground beneath the towering tree. "Rest your mind like this leaf, and let the winds pass without carrying you away," he added thoughtfully. The disciple closed his eyes, attempting to envision his thoughts as mere winds passing through an empty sky. The forest seemed to grow quieter, the sounds blending into a harmonious backdrop of natural rhythm. "Master, I feel a moment of stillness, but it fades quickly," the disciple confessed with a sigh. "Like water disturbed by a pebble. Your mind needs time to settle," the Buddha explained with infinite patience. "Observe the ripples without resistance, and clarity will return," he advised, pointing to a nearby pond. The disciple watched the water, its surface trembling before slowly regaining its mirrored stillness. "What lies beneath the surface always remains when the disturbances subside," the Buddha said, his voice soothing. The disciple felt his heart lightening, though the path to complete peace seemed distant and unclear. "Master, will I ever truly know peace?" he asked, his words tinged with both hope and doubt. "Peace is not a destination but the nature of stillness in every present moment," the Buddha replied. "You do not seek peace. You remove the barriers that prevent you from seeing it," he elaborated. The disciple bowed his head, tears slipping down his cheeks as gratitude welled within him. "Master, your words are like a balm to my weary soul," he whispered, his voice laden with emotion. The Buddha simply smiled, his silence more eloquent than words, and the disciple felt a fleeting sense of serenity. The banyan tree swayed gently, its branches sheltering both the teacher and the student in a timeless embrace. Another day, the sun rose gently, casting golden hues over the earth as Buddha and his disciples walked by a stream. The stream carried murky waters, its surface disturbed by recent rains, swirling mud clouds creating an opaque and restless appearance. "Master, this water seems troubled, unable to calm itself," a disciple said, his gaze fixed on the turbulent stream. The Buddha stopped and crouched by the edge, his hand hovering over the surface without touching it. The stream mirrors your mind. Restless and unclear when agitated, the Buddha said, his voice resonating with calm certainty. The disciple frowned, his thoughts already stirring with questions about the meaning hidden in his master's words. But master, the stream cannot control the rains or the winds that disturb it, the disciple replied thoughtfully. The Buddha smiled faintly, motioning for the disciple to sit beside him and observe the water's rhythmic movements. True, the stream cannot stop the rains. Yet it can wait for the mud to settle, Buddha explained softly. The disciple squinted at the water, trying to find patterns in its chaotic dance. Yet clarity evaded his searching eyes. Master, my thoughts feel like this water. Endlessly disturbed and unable to find stillness, the disciple admitted, voice quivering. Buddha turned his gaze to the horizon, where the first rays of sunlight touched the mountains with a warm glow. Patience is the key, like the stream that lets time restore its clarity, Buddha said. Gesturing to the waters, the disciple sighed deeply, struggling to grasp how stillness could emerge in his tangled web of thoughts. Let go of the desire to control the disturbance, Buddha continued, his words gentle yet unwavering. Observe the ripples without clinging to their chaos. Clarity will emerge naturally, the Buddha added with serene conviction. The disciple closed his eyes, listening to the flow of water, hoping to understand the deeper truth hidden within. Time passed, and the ripples began to ease. The mud sank slowly to the stream's bottom, leaving the surface clearer. Master, the water now reflects the sky and trees. It looks peaceful, the disciple remarked, a note of wonder in his voice. Buddha nodded, his expression holding both wisdom and unspoken compassion for the disciple's struggles. The stillness was always there, waiting beneath the surface. Disturbance only masked its presence, Buddha elaborated softly. But master, how do I find stillness in my mind when storms within are unrelenting? The disciple asked. Be like the stream, accepting and observing without resistance. Let each disturbance pass without grasping for control, Buddha advised. The disciple gazed at the now quiet water, its mirrored surface returning serene images of the trees above. It feels impossible to detach from my thoughts. They always pull me back into their noise, the disciple said. Resistance feeds their strength. Acceptance dissolves their power, Buddha replied, his voice as steady as flowing water. Do not fear the storm. Let it pass like rains that come and go, the Buddha continued with compassion. The disciple sat silently, the sounds of the flowing stream weaving into the fabric of his awareness. As he watched, the water glimmered, the morning sun reflecting its light in golden arcs across the surface. Master, does finding peace mean becoming indifferent to the disturbances in life? The disciple inquired hesitantly. Not indifference but understanding. Disturbances are transient, and peace is your constant nature beneath them, Buddha explained gently. The disciple bowed his head, the weight of wisdom slowly settling in his heart. Though much remained unclear, Buddha stood, his robes flowing softly in the breeze, his presence tranquil as the mountain air. Walk beside the stream and learn from its patience. The waters have wisdom to share if you observe, Buddha said. The disciple rose, his steps hesitant yet filled with reverence, following the stream's gentle path through the forest. With each step, the disciple felt his mind shift, the echoes of Buddha's teachings intertwining with the stream's flow. The water seemed to carry answers silently, its movements expressing truths beyond the reach of words. When the disciple looked back at the Buddha, the master stood watching, his calmness as eternal as the mountains. The disciple felt gratitude swell within him, though his journey of understanding was only just beginning. Master, your lessons leave footprints in my heart that will guide me through storms yet to come, the disciple said. The Buddha simply smiled, his silence richer than words. And the moment carried the promise of growth. How do I balance self-acceptance and growth? The Buddha answered, self-acceptance is not the absence of growth. It is the foundation upon which meaningful change can arise. When you accept yourself, you free your energy from self-condemnation, redirecting it toward transformation and positive action, he said. The disciples gathered around, their eyes curious, wondering what lesson their master would reveal from the silent vessel. Master, why do you sit with this empty bowl? A disciple asked, his voice tinged with confusion and eagerness. The Buddha lifted the bowl, turning it so the sunlight illuminated its smooth, hollow surface without obstruction. This bowl is like your mind, empty by nature, yet you fill it with restless thoughts, Buddha explained with calm precision. The disciple frowned, struggling to comprehend how his mind, bustling with thoughts, could ever be compared to an empty vessel. Master, my thoughts feel endless, filling every space within me. How can my mind be empty? The disciple questioned. The Buddha set the bowl down gently, letting its stillness reflect his own steady presence amidst the questioning minds. Peace arises not from what you add, but from what you remove. Only then does the mind's emptiness emerge, Buddha said. Another disciple leaned forward, her hands resting on her knees as curiosity burned in her gaze. Master, how do we remove what overwhelms us? How do we empty our minds of endless worries and fears? She asked. The Buddha picked up a handful of sand, letting it trickle through his fingers to the ground below. The bowl remains empty until you refuse to fill it. Let go of the sand, and its emptiness becomes clear, Buddha explained. The disciples watched the sand fall, each grain carrying with it metaphors of their anxieties and attachments. But Master, the sand clings to my fingers. Even as I let go, it remains with me, a disciple observed. The Buddha smiled faintly, his gaze unwavering as he rubbed his hands together to free them of the remaining grains. Release requires patience, not force. The remnants will fade with time if you do not hold them tightly, Buddha advised. The disciple gazed at his own hands, wondering if he too could rub away the lingering traces of his troubled thoughts. Master, why do we cling so fiercely to the thoughts that burden us? Another disciple asked, his voice trembling. The mind clings to what it fears to lose. Yet its true nature is freedom, not attachment, Buddha replied gently. He lifted the bowl again, turning it upside down to emphasize its emptiness and inability to hold what is not placed. The bowl does not ask to be filled. Your mind seeks peace, yet you fill it with unnecessary weight, Buddha elaborated. The disciples sat in reflective silence, their gazes fixed on the bowl that seemed to carry profound wisdom in its emptiness. One disciple broke the silence, his voice steady despite his inner turmoil. Master, my thoughts feel like storms, relentless and unyielding. How can I find emptiness amidst such chaos? He asked. The bowl does not battle the storms. It remains unchanged by noise unless you choose to fill it, Buddha answered. But Master, the storms seem to fill my mind on their own. How can I stop them? The disciple pressed further. Do not mistake passing winds for permanence. They enter but cannot remain unless you hold them within, Buddha explained. The disciple lowered his head, the simplicity of the metaphor both enlightening and humbling in its truth. A bird landed nearby, its chirping blending harmoniously with the quiet sounds of nature surrounding the group. The Buddha motioned toward the bird, its movements quick and carefree as it hopped near the disciples. Observe the bird. It carries no burden, fills no bowl. It embraces the moment without clinging, Buddha said. The disciples watched the bird, its simplicity and freedom inspiring thoughts of lightness within their heavy hearts. Master, does peace mean abandoning all emotions and thoughts? Must we become like the empty bowl, devoid of everything? One asked. not abandonment but understanding. The bowl remains ready to hold, yet does not grasp what is placed within, Buddha clarified. The disciple nodded slowly, her gaze shifting between the bowl and the bird, each reflecting different aspects of wisdom. The Buddha placed the bowl gently on the ground, letting its stillness mirror the peace he sought to teach. Master, will I ever truly empty my bowl, or will it remain filled by life's constant challenges? Another asked softly. Life will always place things in your bowl. Peace arises when you choose what stays and what is let go, Buddha replied. The disciple stared at the bowl, its emptiness both comforting and challenging in its silent symbolism. The Buddha rose, his movements calm and deliberate, his presence unwavering like the ancient mountains. Embrace the silence of the empty bowl. Let its wisdom guide you through storms and stillness alike, Buddha said. The disciples watched as their master walked away, his footsteps light yet leaving an indelible mark in their hearts. The bowl remained on the ground, its stillness carrying the promise of peace through the absence of clinging. The disciples sat quietly, their minds slowly opening to the truths revealed through the vessel's profound emptiness. Each disciple saw their own reflection in the lessons, their paths diverging yet united by the wisdom of stillness. The sun began its descent, painting the earth in soft hues of orange and gold, marking the end of the day. Yet the bowl remained, a silent teacher amidst nature's fleeting beauty, whispering truths to those who sought its peace. Thank you for watching. Buddha's teachings are always with you. Subscribe to our channel and we will see you in the next video.